Warredi Enisouh, the Executive Director of Technical and Operations of Tantita Security Service Nigeria. All right. You heard the chairman of the host community producing oil and gas. How come this became so entrenched if the perpetrators are known?
Thank you very much, Cyril. It's a very, very complex issue. It's not really too straightforward as we see. Well, one of the things we first of all have to understand is that Nigeria's oil is very, very tasty. What do I mean by this? It's a tempting oil. It's the cleanest oil in the world, if I'm not mistaken. And any refinery you pump it to has got very low maintenance. Very, very low maintenance. And this has attracted a lot of thieves, which at the end of the day has resulted in two dimensions of the theft: the local dimension and then the international dimension. Now, as far as my estimates will go, from what I have seen practically, we've been on this for quite a while. We didn't just jump into it. We've been gathering a lot of intelligence on how these things work even before the contract came up. You would see that the local theft is probably about 10 to 20%. And while the international one will probably take about between, let me say, about 70 to 80% or something like that, if I am not mistaken. And it's not very easy for government agencies to monitor a criminal private sector setup like this. Why am I saying this? Now, in every government situation, there are bureaucracies. And the bureaucracy in dealing with it as a government probably contributed immensely to a very wide criminal window of opportunity. Well, what do I mean by a criminal window of opportunity? Now, we have the intelligence, maybe in government or something, just like the military. They would need some level of processing of that intelligence before acting. And I tell you the truth, it's not very, very easy for them to act. It's not easy. It's a tough one. You know, they have done very, very well. So we just came in to close in that particular criminal window of opportunity by being a private sector with very, very low bureaucracy to match the criminals without bureaucratic processes.
All right.
So the reason it has gone this far is because the country struggled to tackle it alone. Fortunately, the current administration deemed it fit to carry out a whole lot of reforms, and that is what the NNPC is also gaining from. And also, it has empowered the NNPC to also engage in a public-private partnership that has been yielding results. So this is the summary of actually why it has been so long. And besides also, you have to understand that the region has got teeming youths unemployed who suddenly found another type of economy to engage themselves in. Because the demand for the oil, the lack of refineries in the country also came up and helped in propping up illegal refineries, which more or less, at the moment, with what I can see, are able to brew this crude to the extent that they can get diesel, even up to fuel, out of it. So it's a whole lot of things.
Okay.
You know, I will just stop here for now.
All right.
So that,
let's come back to Comrade Owen. Captain Enisouh, and you said in your initial contributions that the private sector is not bogged down by the kind of bureaucracy that should slow things down in terms of this. But we are talking here of security for oil installations and security of of crude oil. And we all know that oil business is not small business. This is a business that is determined in hundreds of millions of dollars. We've also had allegations that people in high places are complicit in this theft. And you are coming from the private company. You have guarantees that when you apprehend these thieves, that you can cut through that bureaucracy in high places. What if they are involved in them too? What you gonna do?
Our job actually, if you ask me, is not really to catch people, is to prevent the stealing of Nigeria's oil. However, in the process of doing so, the law will not spare anybody, not anyone. I mean, you heard the CDS reiterate that. So as far as the contract goes, the line of communication is straight and swift to decision makers who would make the toughest of decisions to ensure that Nigeria's hydrocarbon industry is well protected. Now, before I go further, I want to explain a couple of things when it comes to the community issues. It all depends on how the country sees it. At the moment, Tantita Security Services Nigeria Limited has employed 17,000 community members spread out in different tiers all along its pipeline surveillance area. And not only has it employed those amount of members from the community, we also realize that it is not everybody that can come out and protect pipeline. Some are intelligence gathering officials. Some of them are practically trotting the lines to ensure that nobody goes in to breach them. And then we also place able-bodied women who are literally homemakers on some form of allowances while their husbands go out to work. Then there are also elderly people who are dependents on those people who are also placed on certain amount of allowance. That is the structure Tantita Security Services has got. And I will also say that that was what the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited advised all the contractors to do, that you must, it's non-negotiable, you must make sure that the host communities are engaged. So that aspect is being addressed by NNPC's ultimatum to all the contractors already. That is, I needed to clear that particular fact so that people know.
Right.
And even before now, a lot of people were probably not aware that you could also be part of this solution because the NNPC has also created an app whereby other stakeholders or other persons who are interested in protecting Nigeria's hydrocarbons could download this app, report what they see, and then get rewarded for it. So that also is in place. So literally, you could be self-employed going around looking for people who are doing all these type of things. To even tell you that as we speak, nobody is above the law over this issue. We all saw what happened to that particular vessel that was caught with crude oil. It has not ended there. I believe the government is still working to bring the perpetrators to book while the asset was destroyed. Swift to create and send a message that if this is the line you want to tow, you will lose your investment, your tool, your reputation. So these are the measures in place, and that is why we are very, very happy to work with this particular new dawn that has been created by the federal government and NNPC Limited.
perhaps the challenges from your end there. But I should think that Sadiq has made the point, and let's return to Captain or Enisouh. Yes, you did mention that about 70 to 80% of this crime is perpetrated by international organizations themselves. And what are when you look at the entire situation, what would be the recommendation by Tantita in dealing with international organs that are involved in this?
Okay. Thank you very much again, Cyril. Well, a couple of things. First, we have to clean up in-house, okay? Nobody can come straight into your house. They don't know the geography of the house, and then be able to steal from you effectively. So we got a lot of in-house things to do. And that cleanup does not necessarily mean going on and looking for culprits or something. It's how to educate people to have a third eye over their resources. Now, from my experience so far in all these discoveries, in some of the areas, you could tell that obviously somebody saw somebody doing something. Now, why did they allow that person to do whatever they are doing and then they got away? So it could be also that they capitalized on the fact that we have a type of society here where we have a don't ask, don't tell, it doesn't concern me, it's government. Government is seen like a separate human being up there. But that is not true. We are all part of government, you see. So I think there needs to be a lot of orientation to it. And you know, here in Africa, I realized something which is very, very key. We see foreigners as saints. We see each other as evil. So that being saint look, because some of these connections you see were not done by locals. They were done by, as I said, a smart civilization. So if you see a foreigner bend down and be doing something on the pipe, that perception that they come with, their general successes in their country, somehow gives the African a false sense of security. He could be doing something wrong, but you say, oh, because he's an Oyibo man, he is carrying out maintenance. You never know. So we had lapses that created this problem. Maybe our security forces also need to be trained more to have a better eye over these issues. Okay? Now, the crime is getting far and far more sophisticated. A big ship can come to Nigeria with two things. One is legal and the other is illegal. What do I mean? It can stay in Nigerian waters, nominated to come and lift crude oil here and there. Fine, peaceful, no problem. But I can tell you, while it's got all the papers to be inside the waters, some of these small boats are penetrating the creeks and probably loading it and going. So, you see, we need to train our people for that particular third eye that we talk about. That's one area. Now, the falsification of documentation is also getting very, very high. How well do we exchange, all these agencies exchange information quickly? And how well is that information processed positively? You know, it's also key. Now, we can talk all about stopping the oil theft. Have we got local refineries that are going to produce oil? In as much as we don't have these refineries, this issue is going to go on. We may still have to fight this a little longer, because if you look at the local side, a lot of these petrol stations that are looking innocent probably are part of those also who benefit, and then you and I also benefit from easily getting fuel. So we will look at all of these things in its holistic manner,
All
you
right.
know.
Well,
And I was a jet pilot. If I just put this, I was a jet pilot.
Yeah.
And as we speak, I can't renew my license from where I got it from because I'm regarded as somebody with a dangerous skill, except I'm attached to an airline. So how well do these oil companies monitor their staff who probably left in anger? Some retired with this type of skill. So we have to look at all these things.
That's another
Thank you.
aspect of it. And well, as we conclude, Comrade, could you just sum up for us here?
Well, this issue of crude oil theft is a serious one. It is multifaceted. It has taken a lot of collaboration within the syndicate, within all the component parts of the operators in the industry, because for us to have gotten to this point, as has been stated, it is a sophisticated machinery that's in place. What can lead to the solutions? I think that should be where our focus really should be. I believe that collaboration again amongst all the collective stakeholders, the operators, the government security agencies, the regulators, the workers, the host communities. There is no gainsaying the fact that the host communities are very intricate part of the ecosystem around oil and gas production, and they must be welded, infused into the protection of the pipeline, the facilities. They must be infused, and we've seen progress that has been done, that has been made, achieved in this couple of months. However, we strongly believe, as the president of Pengasson made very passionately before the Senate committee, ad hoc committee investigating oil theft, that as a country, we should also be ready to invest in technology.
Okay.
We must invest in technology long term to be able to adequately survey our vast network of pipelines, our vast network of oil and gas infrastructure, just as it's done in developed climes, so that at the end of the day, we can use technology and boots on the ground to be able to curb this menace.
All right. Well, we always say there's no one program that can take care of all the issues, and so we must leave this conversation here at this point in time and thank our guests. Comrade Abua Owan, Deputy President Pengasson, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to Dr. Mike Emu, Chairman, Host Community Producing Oil and Gas, HOSCON. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
And Captain Warredi Enisouh. I hope I got that correctly. Perhaps at some point in time, we might try to get that pronunciation correctly. Maritime Intelligence Aviation Satellite Systems Expert, Executive Director, Technical and Operations, Tantita Security Service, Nigeria Limited, who joined us via Zoom from Warri. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much.
All right. And that's our program today. We thank you for watching. Next week, we'll be back with NTA Tuesday Live. I'm Cyril Stober. Continue to stay safe.